Good afternoon and welcome. Glad to see you all here today. So let's get started. Today we're going to talk about iOS 16 features. I was originally going to talk about several different features, but during my research, I found out what was going on with notes, and so we're going to dedicate this just to notes, to the new features, and kind of review some of the older features so that you have a complete picture of how notes can work for you. This is Go for Lunch for March 7th, 2023, brought to you by GoFor Technology. I'm Roger Harmon, your host, and we're here to make your technology work for you. This is the spring preview edition of GoFor Technology. Of course, spring doesn't officially start until March 20th, but the wildflowers are already out in places like Picacho Peak. And a good resource to find out what's happening with that is the azstateparks.com/wildflowers page. And when you go there, you'll see a video about hiking tips. And then the first listing is for Picacho Peak, just a few miles up I-10 north of Tucson. And I'm assuming that they will update the status. They said as of the 3rd of March, the poppies had survived the winter and were in full bloom, as you can see here by the pictures. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see here's Catalina State Park. Hasn't had a status update since 22nd of February. But hopefully you'll see that. And then when you scroll down a little further, then you get ways to identify the native Arizona wildflowers. Like, for example, the yellow ones we're seeing now are brittle bush. So that's a good resource. So again, that is azstateparks.com/wildflowers. So let's talk about Quick Notes. That's a feature that's now on the iPhone with iOS 16. It has been on the iPad and the Mac for a little while, but now it's on the iPhone. So there's two ways you can create a Quick Note. One way is in any app that has a share sheet or share menu, which is the little square box with the up arrow. And most apps have that. You can create a quick note from there. And the other way is to add a quick note to your control center in settings. So let's turn on our iPhone here. And we're going to swipe down, and there's notes up in the upper left hand corner, or we could search for it here in the center. So here we are in notes. So we're going to come back here. So we're going to go back to our home page and go to Safari. So here's an article that I want to make a quick note out of. So down here at the bottom in the center is the share sheet. Again, it's the square with the up arrow. I touch that and I go down here, and the fourth entry is add a quick note. So you can see the note icon is this little rectangle with the squiggly mark on it. So I click on add quick note. So now I've added this as a quick note. And then I would just click on save up here in the upper right hand corner. And now it takes me right back to the app that I saved. And you can see down here in the right hand corner is my quick note, which times out, goes away, but you can recall it. We'll wait for a second for it to go away. And when it's hides itself, it still has a little arrow peeking out, so you can call it back. Or you can swipe it to the right and get rid of it. So that is how that works. So the other way to do it is to go into your control center. So control center, or go into your settings, I should say, and then scroll down to the control center, which is the second heading under general right there. You click on control center and then you scroll down here. So it's alphabetical. Here we have quick note. So then you would click on the little green circle with the plus next to quick note. Now we're going to swipe up to get back to the home screen. Then we're going to swipe down from the upper right hand corner to get to the control center. And as you can see right here, the quick note has been added to the control center. So if I want to add a quick note, I can do that. And don't forget that you can dictate notes. Don't forget, you can dictate notes, so you don't have to type a quick note. You can just speak it. And then when you're done, you click on the microphone again, and that ends our quick note. And then you would save it up here in the upper right hand corner. I'm going to cancel this one and delete it. Okay, so that's how you can create a quick note, either with the share sheet or in the control center. So you can also lock a note. Now this is important, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. So in order to lock a note, you do a long press on the note, and then you get a little menu and you select lock. So in the GoFor Gazette this week, I had a story about a disturbing trend in the stealing of iPhones, wherein the thief will observe you entering your passcode in public and then steal your iPhone out of your hands, and then they will immediately change your Apple ID password. So you can't get into your iPhone after it's been stolen, but they can, and they can get to your banking passwords. So by using a different passcode in notes, you can prevent them from getting into those notes. So you would use a different passcode than the passcode that you use to unlock the iPhone. You can also use Face ID or Touch ID. So let's see how that works. So we're going to go back into Notes, and we're going to go into this folder called Demo, and we're going to long press on this note. So we get a menu that pops up that lets us lock the note. Let's try that again. Lock note. So then it tells you that you can use the device passcode, or you can use a separate password. Again, if it's something that's of a personal nature, you want to use a separate passcode. So we're going to create a passcode here, and the passcode can be the same. They remind you here that if you forget your password, Apple can't reset it, and you're locked out, and it can't be recovered. So make sure you write down that password and know where to find it. So I'm going to put in a passcode here, and I don't think it has any criteria, so it could be a short passcode, and then you could put a hint in here if you like, and hit done. And they strongly recommend a hint, but if you hit done again, they will accept that simple passcode. And then here's where you can enable Face ID, or you can choose not now, enable or not now. So we're going to say enable Face ID, and then you'll notice here there's a little padlock icon that's unlocked. So when you tap on it, then up here in the top you have the little lock icon. So to lock it now, you would click on the lock icon, and now it is locked. So now if you want to view the note, you click on View Note. It uses Face ID. Again, reminding you, don't forget your note's password, because once you do, you can't get back to that note. So we'll say OK. So you notice now it's unlocked, and we can leave it unlocked. So that's how you lock a note, and why you want to use a different passcode. Folders are a way to organize your notes. So when you're on the folders page, you click on the folder icon in the lower left hand corner, and you would choose either On My iPhone or iCloud. So let's take a look at that. We're going to search for Notes. Notes is already here, so we're going to touch on that. We're going to back out into Folders. So now here in the lower left hand corner we have the folder icon, has a little plus symbol on it. We touch that and we can choose On My iPhone, but it's best to use iCloud so that it syncs across all of your devices. And then it's already selected, so you can name it. Of course, you could use your dictation to do that, or you could type it. Test folder. Okay, so there's our folder, and we click on Done up here in the upper right, and there's our test folder right there. So you could also create a enhanced smart folder. It's enhanced in iOS 16. So it will automatically organize notes in your smart folder based on powerful new filters and tags. So let's see how that works. Okay, so we're going to do an example here of creating a quick note. So I'm going to go into my Maps app, and I'm going to find a restaurant that I was at recently called the American Eat Company. And then you'll notice here is a share sheet, a little square with the up arrow. So I'm going to touch that, and then I'm going to scroll up here, and now you can see I have the availability of adding a new quick note. So I'm going to do that. So now I want to add a tag to this quick note, and the way we do that is we put in a hashtag, aka a pound sign. So here's our pound sign on our keyboard right there. And then you can see here that hashtags that I already had made come up. So here's a hashtag or a tag called new folder, and here's another one called restaurants. So I want restaurants. So I just tap on that, and now I get a little note here that says note hidden on some devices. Notes or with tags or mentions are only viewable on iOS 14.5, iPad OS 14.5, and Mac OS 11.3 or later. So here's some other devices that I have that are older devices that, as you can see, except for the, no, they all have asterisks after them, and that means that these devices cannot be upgraded, so I cannot share notes with those devices. So something to keep in mind. Okay, so now just to remind you, we are talking about smart folders. So now we're going to go up here and get my little pointer here, go up to the upper right hand corner and save. Okay, so we save that. So now we're going to go back to notes. So a smart folder is indicated by a cog or gear icon instead of the folder icon. So you can see here I have already made a smart folder called Eat Out, and when I click on that, there's a entry there for my tag, which was restaurants. I click on that and I get that warning again. So there's my American Eat Company map, and of course if I wanted to go there, then I would just click on the map icon, click on the 6-minute car icon here, and have directions on how to get there. So that is how tags work and how smart folders work. So you can put those tags on notes and have them in several different folders. So you can have notes rearranged so they can be more than one place. So that's smart folders and tags. So while we're talking about notes, let's remind ourselves that we can share notes and we can share folders. So you need to have the person you want to share with already in your contacts, or add them to your contacts before sharing, and they must, as you must, have iCloud activated. So the way to share a note or folder is to do a long press on that note or folder and choose share. So let's look at that. So we're going to go back into notes and back out of here, go to folders. So I want to share this folder here called demo. Well, let's do this one. I'm going to share this one called manuals. So it has one note in it. So I could either long press on the note itself, or I could long press on the shoulder and the results would be the same. I would get this menu. So here I can lock the note. As you can see, I can pin the note, which means putting it at the top of the list. I can share the note. I can move the note to a different folder, or I can delete the note. So we want to share the note. So here we are. So I'm going to share this note with Bob. So before I share the note, though, I want you to notice up here where it says collaborate. And you have double arrows. So you can collaborate on this note, or you can just send a copy of the note. So now you can see it says send copy. So obviously to collaborate, that means that the person you're sharing the note with can make changes to the note. So I'm just going to send a copy because it's just a printed manual. There's really nothing to collaborate. So now I'm going to click on Bob, and we're going just to say this is a demo of sharing a note. And I'm going to press the circle with the up arrow to send the message. So now Bob is getting a message about sharing notes. So I think you hopefully understand how tags work. They're very powerful. And in order to use tags, you have to have iOS 15 or later. And a tag must be a word. However, you can use hyphens or underscores if you want to make it more than one word. You can put a hyphen or underscore between the words, and that is acceptable. So if you haven't already, please put any questions in the comments, and Make sure and share the GoFor Gazette with anybody you know that uses Apple devices so we can build our community and help more people. And of course, Zoom has updated their software once again, so it's on 5.13.11. So if you haven't updated Zoom in the last few days, do so before you go to your next Zoom meeting. So let's see who we have here. So we have Kurt with a question. Do quick notes end up in your notes or on a separate app? No, they end up in your notes. So let me show you. They actually do end up in a separate folder. So if we go back here to the phone, you can see up here at the top, the quick notes are listed here in a folder, even though it doesn't show a folder icon. So there's all my quick notes, but they can also be, by using tags, they can be in other places as well. So hopefully that answers that question. And Leslie Ann says, is there a way to take my current notes and place them in folders? Excellent question. So let's go back here. Okay, so here's my notes. And let's see. Well, let's just do Keeper of the Grumper here. So if I long press on Keeper of the Grumper, which of course is where we take our electronics to be responsibly recycled, and then you can see down here I have an option to move. So I click on that, and now I can move that into another folder. So I'm going to click here on Test Folder, and now you can see Keeper of the Grumper disappeared. But now if I go back to my folders and I go to Test Folder, there it is. So that's how you move your current notes into folders. So excellent question. So any other questions? Hopefully that was going to give you some new resources on how to organize your notes and encourage you to use notes more often, especially that quick note. You know, if you're out and about and you think of something, you can go into your control panel and your control center and create a quick note, or you can use the share sheet if you're in the in an app that has a share sheet. So good. Glad you were able to use that technique. Okay, well that'll do it for today. If you have any other things that you'd like me to cover or any questions, you can email me or call me, and that contact information is coming up right now. So have a great rest of your day.